We've arrived, MVP Real Estate Podcast with Marcus and Dan, a show developed for the educational purpose of everything to do with real estate and investment. Buckle up, let's go. All right, welcome back to season 3 of MVP Podcast. When we started the show, to think of a season 3 as kind of so far down the road that it's here is super cool for me. This is kind of our intro into 2023, year-end wrap-up of 2022 with all the guests. But the biggest news we'll start here is the person that is sitting virtually next to me. Dan, he has come aboard on the MVP brand. He is going to start out as our co-host, and then I'm slowly going to work him and push him into more roles. So thank you, Dan, for being here. Welcome to the show. Good to see you again as well, and we'll get into that part.
You as well. How's it going?
It's awesome. We have spent the whole day kind of getting you onboarded. Dan is new to the show, but not new to me. We've actually worked together in the past. When did we start working together? Was that 2019?
September of 2016.
I was way off. So in 2016, we had met working for a company. And I think if you've listened to the show, you've heard me mention working for a company that worked with nonprofits like schools and clubs and everything from the area. Dan was actually the person who started right before me in Wisconsin. I came on as like his protege, I guess, but he was teaching me the ropes as I took on a new territory that kind of butted with his. So a lot of interactions going back and forth. We developed a relationship, and obviously as we both moved on from that position, we kept talking, both very interested in real estate and both involved in real estate. So like this, to me, in my head, is like the culmination of things that were back in 2016 that I wanted to have happen. So like super exciting for me. And what I hope and what I know will happen is Dan's going to bring value to everybody listening to the show with the knowledge that he has. He's going to be bringing in new guests from local. But one thing you're going to catch, and Dan's laughing because he's super modest. He'll never tell you that he's going to be good or going to do the awesome thing. And I think you're going to.
If I do make comments like that, I am 100% joking. Definitely.
But so for people to learn about Dan, let's give Dan some time to talk about the background. What makes Dan Dan? And you can start wherever you want. You can go personal, you can go business.
Let's start with business. Started working back with Marcus back in 2016. By no means was I a trainer or anything like that. I mean, I just got lucky. Took the jump into, working for myself. Kind of an entrepreneurial mindset with the leap that you leave, a W-2 job, going into basically managing your own territory, being an independent contractor, having a book of business and trying to build that up. I just always liked the in-depth conversations that we've had, whether it be on road trips to Indianapolis or to, flights to Venice or Seattle or Portland, wherever they were, making sure that we always, room together so we have maximized the FaceTime that we could have together. Even though
the amount of times that we switched, because just like any company, when we go, we all get hotel rooms. They'll pair you up with someone across the country, so you meet them. Backroom deals were like, hey, I'll trade you roommates. I'm gonna room with Dan.
Yeah,
I think that was on every single clinic we went to.
Yeah, it had to have been. I mean, was there 4 or 5 of them that we had? Making sure that, like I said, we could maximize the FaceTime, getting together and just not bouncing ideas off each other, but just talking like high level or high view about ideas that we had for the future for ourselves. I'll be honest, the last few years I've been kind of lost with, what I want to do, where I've been. I have worked a few wholesale deals, one to completion, 2 of them twice fell through, and that was due to the seller's end. I don't know if it was because of cold feet or, they got talked out of it. Would have been a very very nice, comfortable deal had it gone through, but kind of got a little frustrated with the whole situation. But it has still always been real estate or, long-term investing for my future, my family's future for sure. Having one kid in college, 3 years already in, my youngest in independent school, so that there's a lot of obligations there financially. I would just like to be able to have those be afterthoughts as far as how I'm going to pay for those, or how those are going to get covered as far as costs. But and then I got two other kids. One's in school, high school still, going to be 18 soon, and the other's living on their own. Tried talking to him about house hacking, things that I learned from the book by Scott Trench, Set for Life. Got him a copy of that. He read it. He understood it. At the time, he wasn't able to get a house of his own, so him and his girlfriend have a place and 6-month lease, and then they're going to try to do their own thing. So, yeah, back to now into personal. Father of 4, soccer coach, help out a little bit with basketball, and just seeing where the soccer avenue leads for my youngest 9-year-old, who loves the game, plays multiple times during the week, has multiple trainings, and that's about it.
It's crazy how much youth sports have gotten advanced. Because like my nephew, who's 8, had 3 games yesterday, 2 soccer games and a basketball game. He was gone like all day, just doing all the sports.
Yeah, Leighton was the opposite Saturday. She had 1 basketball, 2 soccer games. So she loves it. I mean, both sports. Yeah. Flip of the coin, she'll tell you which one is her favorite, but I think at the end of the day, it's got to be soccer. So
yeah, that's cool. Yeah, and like what you were mentioning before about us rooming together when we're on the road, when we're at conferences, either in the Midwest or going across the country, meeting with the whole company. The one thing that struck me, and I think what we connected on, was, like you said, long-term investments was always where both of us were. We knew that we were in a job. We both loved the job. I loved that job. I didn't quit because I hated the job. I quit because I couldn't do both. I had to make a decision to do one. But I made sure to hold Dan close to me because, like, he is the guy. There's few people in the world that you get to talk to about passions, and they align with you, and they understand the course of where you want to take your life and your future. And when you find those people like Dan, I was like, I'm going to keep this guy around, because if I need a partner in crime, he's going to be the person. He already has 8 years under his belt of my messed up brain talking to him. So, and he had the passion for long-term investing, whatever it may be, whether it be real estate or stock market or NFTs, which are now around, which I don't even know if you've dabbled in NFTs.
I have a couple. I have 5 of them. Yeah. Very interesting.
We have to do a show where you explain NFTs to me. Mr. Wonderful explained it with watches.
Wait. You know what? They're actually real estate related. I don't know how I never put this together.
They're starting to tie them to physical assets, which is what Mr. Wonderful was talking about. Yeah, that's what ours are. That I get. And they also had one described about, like, all right, we're Packer fans. You were or are a season ticket holder?
I gave him up last year. I was thinking Rodgers was going to retire, and then he came back and only gave us 8 and 9 seasons. So
yeah, true.
I kind of got out early, but
yeah. But they were talking about, like, okay, if Dan, you're on the waiting list, which is like 20,000 people long, 100,000 long. I was just doing for reference, 100,000, and you're 900 or 99,750, just for an arbitrary number. You could, a season ticket holder, which is tied to his NFT, could now sell that NFT to you being 99,750. You just have to pay your premium to jump the line. But then that gives the power to the NFT holder rather than the Packer company that is the holder of all of the shares, which I could see it going that way, but I feel like there's going to be some sort of legality where the Packers are going to lose out on money. And
they definitely don't allow it. The only way you can transfer this to family, direct, immediate family. And I actually transferred mine to my brother because him and I were half and half. We each had 2 tickets, and then I transferred my 2 seats to him. So now he manages all 4.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
But
that
that's
is,
like a long-term investing thing that we would sit at night and talk about all the random things that are coming up and all of that. Got our juices going. And then obviously we are back together again, wearing the same logo, which is exciting.
yes.
So for to keep this episode kind of short, we're going to keep it to 30 minutes. I know normally ours are an hour, but sole purpose of the show is just to give you guys kind of an outline of where we're going in 2023. Obviously, to introduce Dan. He is a lot more techie than I am. Everybody that's listening to the show understands that I don't understand technology and don't really motivate myself to understand it, which is why I'm not very competent in it. He's going to be the brainchild behind all the moving pieces that you're going to see in 2023. I know me and Dan have talked about a couple things, like as simple as an intro video. I don't know if you guys are annoyed that it just like picks up and the show just starts. I find that very annoying, but we're going to fix that. Well, Dan's going to fix that. And then he's got some other avenues. I'm gonna let you expand on that blog aspect that we're gonna add into our website, and I believe we can tie it to social media as well.
Correct.
So if you can take the reins on that one, because he was speaking some gibberish to me, I understood it, but I didn't get it.
Yeah, the only thing I was going to do is to gain more exposure for the podcast itself is try to take the transcript of these podcasts, break them down into either a summarized form or a verbatim form, and post them to a blog on the website. I'm going to have to create a section on the website for this, and then direct people there, which would then obviously make it searchable, or people could access through searches on Google or whatever other search engine they use, which would then just lead people back into the details of the podcast.
Yeah.
And then obviously more content other places. TikTok is huge. I know you don't have much faith in it, but there's a lot of value and there's a lot of content creators that are out there that are bringing really good value through that social media platform.
Yeah.
As well as Facebook and Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels. We just want as many people that have a question or a need fulfilled with the content that we're providing, that they have an easy way to access it. And the more lines we got in the water, the more fish we'll catch. So
yeah. And as we started with season 1 and season 2, even season 1 had a big transformation. We were all in-house. Every guest was in person. Obviously, COVID hit. We weren't allowed to do that. So we went to virtual. We got to get guests from across the country, which was interesting. Like we met people who were from England, Canada, Mexico. I believe we had somebody from Australia. I want to say, if I got that wrong, I apologize. It was very cool because you got to see so many different parts of the world and understand how different parts of the world work. And I mean, me and Dan were just talking before the show about even from a municipality point from within Wisconsin, there's differences. So to go overseas and to hear how they build houses and their building codes, like that was super fascinating. But what I failed to integrate into the show was a search feature of, if you're listening to the show and you're interested on a topic, with this show being educational, you are going to have to listen to every show to get that piece of information that you want out of it. That's clunky. If you are trying to do something and you want information on a specific topic, we were unable to get you that resource. So what Dan was explaining is getting this tangible on a digital pen and paper. So you can go on, search your topic, find out your resources about it. We're going to keep giving you people or resources to look into so that you can actually go out, find that information, do it correctly. We'll work through all the errors for you, I guess, so you don't have to go through and mess things up. We're going to try to get the goods and the bads just so you get the most information possible, and get it as easily accessible as possible as well. Did I do a good non-techie summary of that?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah. I think if we can provide that for the people that are searching for a question, it'll even have the timestamp tag, so they don't have if they don't want to, they don't have to listen to the whole video. It'll just say, at 58 seconds, this is being discussed. And then they can click 58 seconds in the video and bring them right to the content that they're looking for, hopefully to get the answer. If they get a question about how to build something or how to replace something in a house, or being a homeowner and doing some renovations there, it's all sometimes trial by fire or trial by error, or looking up on YouTube. I'll admit I've done that, or I've called a friend. I've had both of my central air units go out this summer, and I ended up going to an electric supply shop and getting the capacitors and replacing it myself. Would I recommend it? Probably not, because you're dealing with 240 volts. Yeah. So I just things like that, you learn from doing or, asking. And then I don't want to brag or say anything about being a quick learner. I enjoy the process of learning. I'm very curious by nature. Sometimes I ask very random questions to people, whether I know them long term or I've just met them, but I like to get into their mind or their psyche and how they understand things or how they do things. And my wife will look at me crazy, like, why would you ask them that? And it's just like, I want to know. I'm curious about it. And maybe it doesn't pertain to you or any thought that you would ever have. But for me, I'm going to take the knowledge. If it's something applicable, I'll store it and maybe have a future use for it. So,
yeah. No, and that is something that I picked out of your personality right away. Being the same person, I'll ask a question that's totally for the public irrelevant, but for me, I'm trying to connect the dots in my brain.
Yeah.
So if you bring up an idea and I had an idea, I'm like, okay, how can I connect the two together? Can you fill in that gap for me? And for some people, they're like, that's a weird question to ask. Not like it's offensive or anything, but just normal people don't ask, or I won't say normal. Majority of people don't ask the question because it's not pertaining to their life. Like it's not what they do for their living. Doesn't pertain to their family. They're not very handy, don't want to be handy, so they don't ask the question. For me, I've always thought of myself as like a master of none. What is it? A master of none, but what is it?
Jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah. So I just want to know information. Just like I have no idea in 20 years, am I going to be put in a situation where 20 years ago I asked a question that actually helped me out in a situation? I have no idea.
Yeah.
But why not? I'm there. So that was a personality trait that me and Dan connected on early. So you're probably going to see a lot more of that in this show going on here as season 3 develops. And then hopefully we can just connect the dots for people to be more interested in, even if it's not real estate. And you've seen that from the show in previous seasons. It's not just real estate specific. We have business coaches. We have financial, I'll call them instructors or teachers, who don't just focus on real estate, but it's all encompassing about financial education. All of those type of things we're still going to have on, just because I think it's great general knowledge. But I do want to drill down and get into more specific topics in specific areas. One being our home state of Wisconsin, getting more involved there, and then expanding to the Midwest and keeping our national tie in with our guests as well. So all those things are on the horizon. So we can keep a lookout for all those things. And like what Dan was alluding to about us getting you guys information, I know it's a podcast and it's just me and Dan on the show, but we do like involvement. If you have a question, you can always email us. Our emails will be tied to every show. Our guest email will be tied to every show. Every show, we do invite the speaker to share their contact information. Every single one has been open to it. Contact us, ask us questions. Are you on a project or want to start a project but don't know where to start, or are scared to start because you feel like you're going to make an error? Give us a question or just write us something. It doesn't need to be a question. We can go down and get a guest and talk about those topics, or put out a blog post with some articles that will help you on the right path. And never go away from YouTube University. There is so much stuff on there. I've used YouTube multiple times for repairs. I was not around when some of these parts were made, so I don't know how they operate. I don't know how they install them. I need somebody in the past to show me how to do it. And YouTube University is where it's all at. So that was a good reference point there, Dan.
Thank you.
with the YouTube. So we'll keep it coming. But that is all I had for the show for the start of 2023. They'll still be put out on Monday. We shoot them on Friday. We got some editing days in there. So they'll come out on Monday. But yeah, as this thing develops, if you guys want to see more or things are easier for you to digest in a certain way, let us know. We can make the changes. We can make the pivots to make it more, I don't know, more accessible. That's what my goal is. Education and accessibility.
Yeah, I would say accessible, and then like you said, if you have any of the listeners that have questions or they would prefer to see a certain topic discussed, or either a full episode worth or just a quick 2-minute clip, hit us up on any of the social medias. There's Facebook and Instagram right now. TikTok will be coming.
TikTok coming soon.
I'll mostly be putting clips from episodes on there to link back to the main podcast episode. And then, if you start enjoying the episodes, give them some stars, 5 stars, hopefully, and rate them. And the more exposure, the more people see it, the more questions they have, more content we'll be able to provide specific to your needs and wants. Very exciting.
Yeah. I'm very excited for 2023. We actually shoot our first show in 2 days, which is kind of awesome.
Not ready. I still have to do my research. So
you got to get your feet underneath you. But hopefully this is a nice icebreaker, just you and I on the show. Have you been in front of cameras, like recording shows before?
No.
Because like the background, the company we worked with, we would be in front of groups of people. What was your biggest group that you had to speak in front of? I think mine was 370.
Yeah, I think it was 330, 3 and change.
Yeah. So it's super weird. We can stand on top in a stage. I was in the auditorium at that one with the microphone. Everybody's sitting in the front and half it's full. I never had a fear of public speaking, but I just didn't know that I could do it. So the first time I went up, I didn't have a note card. I just kind of went up and whatever came to the top of my head, I said. Hopefully I didn't offend people and hopefully I make people laugh a couple times.
Right.
But it went well. But now I'm in front of a camera and no one's in front of me. And now it's still kind of weird.
Absolutely.
So like there's a little bit of adjusting. One big thing is the feedback. We can't get the automatic feedback. You tell a joke in front of a crowd, you get the feedback. You talk to comedians or public speakers, the feedback from the audience is like the biggest key of where you lead your conversation or where you take that act. We don't get that. There is a disconnect in the feedback. The feedback we get is comments, likes, repost, even if it's a negative one. If, hey, you guys missed the boat on this one, that's good feedback. Then we can redirect our show to get you stuff more that you guys want to see. So any feedback in general will be great. So hopefully with where we're taking this in 2023, we're going to get more of that so that we get you more information. So hopefully that sits well with everybody else. But I think we can just sign off.
Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next episode.